We'll begin this hour then with that breaking news coming to us out of Paris. And the new Prime Minister in the job for just a few weeks has resigned, and it comes just a day after he announced his new government. Sebastien Lecornu, who is 39, handed his resignation in to the French President Emmanuel Macron this morning, and that resignation has been accepted. Let's bring in our Europe correspondent, Alistair Bunkle, for more on this. So, Ali, look, we've already seen the reaction to this news as France's political crisis deepens, as the euro drops.
Yeah, I mean, this resignation has come kind of completely out of the blue, and there doesn't seem to yet be an obvious reason for it. Only 13 hours ago, Sebastien Lecornu tweeted that he had successfully formed a new government and spoke about the challenges facing that government to pass a much-needed budget, something that his predecessors failed to do. And now, early this morning, his resignation has been handed in and accepted by the President Emmanuel Macron, leaving Macron in a real crisis because he is going through prime ministers very quickly, too quickly, really, for his position to remain stable for much longer.
And it's the seventh prime minister that he has had, and as you rightly point out, Ali, at this stage there is nothing clear as to the reason behind this sudden resignation when he just yesterday announced his new cabinet. But we've seen the political reaction already in France, haven't we, from the opposition? The leader of the far right, Jordan Bardella, saying that they are now very close to voting out this government. And there were concessions made, as I understand it, by Lecornu when announcing his cabinet yesterday, that perhaps were meant to assuage some of the fears of political opposition, but it doesn't seem to have done him any good.
No, I mean, his predecessor, François Bayrou, went in very hard with a pretty dramatic budget proposal, which included cutting two of France's public holidays and making around 40 billion euros worth of savings. And that just wasn't palatable to many in French politics, but also to the country itself. And so Lecornu needed to find a sort of a middle ground, if you like, both a sort of budget to help address France's economic problems, but also one that he could bring people along with. And the hope was that you do that. I mean, he's a Macron loyalist. He was the only minister who served in every single one of Macron's years as president. So it was a slight surprise that Macron decided to go for that and not someone perhaps from the socialist side of the party who have the biggest bloc in the French Parliament, the National Assembly. But you will now get, very obviously, you will get now some pretty strong calls, and they're becoming far more credible calls from the far right, from Marine Le Pen's party, the National Rally, to hold parliamentary elections. They think that if parliamentary elections were held, then they will do very well in them, and all the polls suggest that would be the case. And I think you'll also probably find that they have sympathy for that position from the left wing as well, the socialists and those on the far left. So Macron is now going to be under immense pressure to call parliamentary elections. I think he'll also come under pressure to stand down himself, because every time he appoints a new prime minister, it fails, and it seems as though he's running out of room and time to keep that tactic, because it's a tactic that's not working for him.
It's an extraordinary moment again in French politics, and those calls for Emmanuel Macron to stand down will, of course, grow, as you say. His term officially ends in May 2027. We'll see what happens in the coming hours, days and weeks, and we might even get some details to why Lecornu has decided to resign. Ali, for now, thank you so much for that. Of course, we'll hear more from you throughout the day.